Okay, good morning to one and all. In previous session, discussed about SRTF scheduling algorithm, shortest remaining time first scheduling algorithm, SRTF, which is a preemptive version of SJF. Which is a preemptive version of SJF. Means in case of round robin, you have some time quantum, usually 10 to 100 milliseconds. After this time has elapsed, the process is preempted and added to the end of the ready queue. Means it's similar to the FCFS scheduling, but whenever the timeout signal is issued by the CPU, then the CPU will switch from one process to the other process. That is the preemptive scheduling. Normally, it is widely used in time sharing systems like Unix and Linux will follow the time sharing operating systems. If there are n processes in the ready queue and the time quantum is q, then each process gets 1 by n of the CPU time. Means no process waits more in the queue. In round robin scheduling, you have to use the circular queue implementation. We have to use the circular queue implementation. Always the timer will send an interrupt to the CPU. The timer will give the interrupt to the CPU. Whenever the timeout signal will be issued. Once go through this problem. This is the round robin scheduling. This is the example for round robin scheduling with time quantum as 4 milliseconds. Here, first of all, for each and every process, the time slice or time quantum will be assigned as 4 milliseconds. Within the 4 milliseconds, within the stipulated amount of time, the process is going to be executed. Whenever the CPU receives a timeout signal from externally by the timer, then the CPU will switch to the second process. Here, more context switchings are there. Hence, it is a preemptive scheduling. Normally, context switching are more in case of preemptive than the non-preemptive. Because in case of non-preemptive, it cannot be interrupted. In between, it may not be moved from switches from one process to the another process. Here, round robin. Observe this Gantt chart. Starting at 0, because all are arrive at the same time, you should consider P1, first 4 seconds will be executed. The CPU will execute the first entered process into the ready queue as P1, and the time slice as a time quantum as, they may call it as time slice or time quantum, both are same. 4 milliseconds P1 gets executed by the CPU. Whenever 4th second is completed, it switches to the next process P2. P2 time as 3, 4 plus 3 is 7. Then P3 will be entered to the ready queue. 7 plus 3, 10. P3 execution completed. P2 also completed. Now we have only 20 milliseconds, 20 units of time for P1. Only P1 gets executed because the P1 will be added to the ready queue in the circular fashion. Again, P1, 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 P1. That's why in case of round robin implementation, you have to use circular queue. Again, after P3 execution, P1 will be entered to the ready queue. 10 plus 4 milliseconds, 14. Again, P1 only one process available. 14 plus 4, 18. Again, 18 plus 4, 22. 22 plus 4, 26. Plus 4, 30. Means at this step, 5 4s are 20. After 5 steps or 5 context switches, you have the entire execution of P1 is completed. Now you should calculate waiting time. Waiting time for P1 as 0. Waiting time for P1 initially 0. Afterwards, you have again P1 will be starts at 10. 10 minus 4. Already it completes execution 4. 10 minus 4, 6 as the P1 waiting time. P2 waiting time as 4. P3 waiting as 7. Turnaround time calculation. Turnaround time means whenever the process gets completed, entire successful termination. P1 completed completely at 30 milliseconds and P2 completed at 7 milliseconds. P3 also completed at 10 milliseconds. That is the turnaround time. Once again, I am repeating the same Gantt chart. 0 seconds, P1 will enter into the ready queue. First 4 units of the time quantum will be assigned and allocated to the CPU first entered process into the queue. P1 will get executed. Then P2 will be entered to the queue. That time will be the less than or equal to time quantum. It will maybe complete its execution. Otherwise, greater than, again you have to context switch to the next process. P2 4 plus 3 7. Again 7 plus 3 10. Now the remaining time here at P1 has 20 milliseconds. Then after that only P1 only available pending process in the ready queue. 10 plus 4 14. 14 plus 4 18. 18 plus 4 22. 22 plus 4 26 plus 4 30. But it gives more average time and more waiting time when compared to the SJF, because SJF only the optimal scheduling algorithm. This round robin also gives more turnaround time and more waiting time. Once again, how to calculate the turnaround time and waiting time? P1, initially P1 there is no waiting, just starts at 0 seconds. Afterwards, P1 will be again starts at 10 milliseconds, but already it completes 4 milliseconds in execution. 10 minus 4, that is a 6 milliseconds is the waiting time for getting the chance of CPU. Then waiting time for P2 as 4, P3 as 7, then turnaround times. Because arrival times will be considered as 0. That's why 10 minus 4 minus 0, that is 6. 4 minus 0 for P2, for P3, 7 minus 0, 0. Arrival times all will be at same unit of time. For example, different arrival times are given, you have to do the same calculation. Turnaround time equal to finish time or completion time minus arrival time. Average waiting time equal to turnaround time minus burst time. But in this example, all the processes are arrived at 0 milliseconds. At 0 milliseconds. Then completion time or turnaround times. Completion time is entire process gets successfully removed from the memory whenever the successful termination is going on. Then P1 30. P2 completed at 7 milliseconds, P3 10. Then you should calculate average waiting time as 6 plus 4 plus 7 by 3, 5.6 milliseconds. Average turnaround time as 30 plus 7 plus 10 by 3, that is 15.66 milliseconds. These are the typically higher average waiting and turnaround times than SJF, but better response, means widely used in time sharing operating systems like Unix and Linux operating systems. Once see, consider the time quantum and context switch time. For example, quantum time as 12. Within that 12, you have to use the process time as 10, for example. Context switches are within the 10, it will be executed. Next 6, one context switching. Next, I have only one. Starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 context switchings means 1 millisecond means 1 millisecond means for first 1 millisecond, one process is executed. After that, timeout signal issued and CPU switches to the P2, P3, P4, so on. N number of context switches, 9 context switches. Okay. Always this round robin scheduling algorithm, the Q value should be 10 to 100 milliseconds, then it is very easy to do the problem. Q usually 10 milliseconds to 100 milliseconds, then context switches are very less, because you have to consider between 1 and 10, more number of swappings are required, switchings are required. But you have to consider usually 10 to 100 milliseconds, then context switches are very less. HRRN is the one of the most optimal scheduling algorithm, which is a non-preemptive algorithm in which the scheduling is done on the basis of an extra parameter called as response ratio. A response ratio is calculated for each of the available jobs, and the job with the highest response ratio is given priority over other processes. This response ratio is calculated by using the given formula. Response ratio RR, you have to consider RR equal to waiting time plus service time by service time. Here, service time you are called as a burst time, where W is the waiting time for each and every individual process. S is the service time or burst time. Burst time means how much amount of time required to execute a particular process. That is called as the service time. Always, which process will have the highest response ratio, that process is going to be executed. This is regarding HRRN, highest response ratio. Next, okay. So far, how many CPU scheduling algorithms are discussed so far? So far, we covered various scheduling algorithms like FCFS, SJF, SRTF, priority, round robin, and HRRN. These are the 6 popular scheduling algorithms. 6, not 4. Okay. First one, FCFS, which is a non-preemptive algorithm. SJF is also a non-preemptive algorithm, whereas SRTF is a preemptive algorithm. Priority may be either preemptive or non-preemptive. Then round robin is a preemptive scheduling algorithm. Then HRRN, highest response ratio, next is a non-preemptive scheduling algorithms. In your examination point of view, they may ask Describe various scheduling algorithms with suitable examples. They given the values, you have to do the problem. For example, they have in detail theory question they have to given. Just you have to consider your own three processes, P1, P2, P3, 24, 33. Apply all the algorithms one by one, FCFS, SJF, SRTF, priority, and round robin. Finally, HRRN. Among these, you have to differentiate among the non-preemptive and preemptive. Non-preemptive as FCFS, SJF, priority, HRRN. Here preemptive means SRTF, round robin, priority. Priority may be also either preemptive or non-preemptive. SRTF and round robin. Your round robin scheduling algorithm is an preemptive scheduling algorithm. You should remember these things. Next, discuss about multi-level queue scheduling algorithm. Multi-level queue scheduling algorithm. You have a ready queue, you know already. All the processes are entered to the ready queue and waiting for CPU to get the chance of execution. That ready queue is now partitioned into separate queues. You have foreground process and background processes. Means processes permanently in a given queue. Each queue has its own scheduling algorithm. Each queue has its own scheduling algorithm. Foreground queues means foreground processes will always provide interactive processes, that is round robin. Background process, for example, you have to apply FCFS. This scheduling must be done between the queues. Some fixed priority is assigned, some may be time slice. Normally in any operating system, 80% are the background process, 20% are the foreground. 20% is the background. Means if you're executing a program, background, some task is going to be executed, that is 20%. 80% are on foreground, means user process 80, and 20% will be the system process, for example. Then you have to observe this diagram. This is the multi-level queue scheduling. Lowest priority to the highest priority. Student process, batch process, interactive editing processes, interactive process. And final system processes. System processes will have the highest priority. Means your entire ready queue is partitioned into 5 types of sub queues. Each queue has its own scheduling algorithm. Student process maybe have to apply FCFS, whereas batch process SJF, interactive editing, we have round robin, for example. Interactive round robin. System process will have HRRN. Each queue will have its separate scheduling algorithm. Normally processes are of 2 types. One as user process and system process. User process means user entered programs called as the user process. Just wait a minute. This is regarding multi-level queue scheduling. Ready queue is partitioned into separate queues. One as for foreground and one more for background. For background, you have batch jobs. Batch means similar applications. All users of same type of jobs. Then you are called as the batch jobs. Processes permanently in a given queue. Each queue has its own scheduling algorithm. Foreground process will follow round robin. RR means round robin. Don't confuse. Background process will execute by FCFS, first come, first serve scheduling algorithm. This scheduling must be done between the queues. Fixed priority scheduling, several from foreground, then from background. Possibility of starvation, because some fixed priority, always I have to assign one. Always highest priority job is going to be executed. Remaining lowest priority jobs must be blocked. Continuously blocking you are called as starvation. Then time slice. Each queue gets certain amount of CPU time, which it can schedule among its processes. That is 80% of the foreground in round robin and 20% background in FCFS. Means background processes are executed by the FCFS scheduling algorithm, whereas the background processor follow the first come first serve scheduling policy. These are the different types of process: student, batch process, interactive editing process, interactive process, and system processes. Always system process will have the highest priority. Lowest priority for student process. You have the lowest priority for student process. Means, for example, you have the highest priority, then it will, this separate queue will follow. This separate queue will follow the system process. Highest priority first executed and output values will be passed. For example, next priority interactive process executed by applying round robin. Interactive editing, some SJF, batch process, student process, FCFS. Each and every queue has its own scheduling policy. That algorithm may be of any type, either FCFS or SJF or round robin or priority. Mainly you have 4 types: FCFS, SJF, priority and round robin. A preemptive version of SJF you are called as SRTF, and one more as HRRN. A9 hand raised, what's your doubt? All the lowest priority jobs must be starvated, that is continuously blocked. Then you have to use in the multi-level feedback queue scheduling. Let us discuss about multi-level feedback queue scheduling. Multi-level feedback queue. A process can move between various queues. Aging can be implemented. Multi-level feedback queue scheduler define the following parameters: number of queues, a scheduling algorithm for each queue, methods used to determine when to demote a process. See this diagram. Multi-level feedback queue. In the previous multi-level queue, for each queue it have a separate scheduling algorithm, but within that queue only all the processes are kept, either system process top highest priority, either student process least priority. interactive in between process, interactive editing, some more queue you have to place. But in case of all the permanently blocked or starvated processes can be executed by means of multi-level feedback queue. Why? Because you have three queues I have to consider: Q0, Q1, Q2. Q0 with quantum of 8 milliseconds means round robin scheduling algorithm. Q1 16 milliseconds round robin time. Q2 FCFS. For example, a new job enters to the ready queue F0, which is served as FCFS. Means it is a simple job. It may be of FCFS executed and just removed from the queue. If it is not executed, not get the chance of CPU, again it placed into the quantum 16 or quantum 8. Within the time interval, the CPU gets the chance and executes that particular process. Means within the either 8 milliseconds it may be completed, otherwise it fed back to the quantum number 16. Means time slice will be 16. Means within this, the output of one queue is fed back to the input of other queue. That is called as a multi-level feedback queue scheduling. Means the output of one queue is fed to the input of another queue. FCFS, execution completed, simply just removed from the queue. If it is not completed, it may be moved to either quantum equal to 16, time quantum or time slice. Otherwise, quantum number value may be in between 1 to 8. Again, it fed back to the quantum equal to 8 milliseconds. Means the range of quantum from 1 to 8, these processes will be executed in the quantum 8 queue, Q2 queue. Consider either Q0, Q1, Q2. Otherwise, here Q0 will be the, then Q1 will be the quantum 16, Q2 will be the FCFS. Here 8 milliseconds, the time slice between 1 to 8, it will be executed. For example, the time quantum in between 12 to 11 to 16, you have to place in Q1, round robin time quantum equal to 16 milliseconds. Means after 9th milliseconds to 16th millisecond, that type of CPU burst time will be there. You have to place in the second queue, that is quantum 16. Quantum 16. These not two are to be supported to execute, then you have moved to the FCFS. This is called as the multi-level feedback queue scheduling. With this, we have to discuss 8 types of scheduling algorithms. Eight types of scheduling algorithms. One as FCFS, second one SJF, third one priority, SRTF, round robin, HRRN, multi-level queue scheduling, and multi-level feedback queue scheduling. Every algorithm has its own merits and demerits depending upon the requirement of the user. The OS will decide which scheduling algorithm is going to be apply, and you have to achieve your maximum throughput, maximum CPU utilization, and with minimum average waiting time, minimum turnaround time, minimum response time. All factors should be the minimum. You have to achieve your maximum CPU utilization, maximum throughput. Means these are the various scheduling algorithms so far we have to discussed. Among all these, only SJF is the optimal scheduling algorithm. SJF is an optimal scheduling algorithm. That means optimal scheduling means it gives minimum average waiting time and minimum turnaround time. When compared to all, either it may be a preemptive or non-preemptive, which gives minimum average waiting time and minimum turnaround times. Among 8 scheduling algorithms, you have FCFS. Once again, remember, just make a note. Scheduling algorithms, first one FCFS, second one SJF, third one SRTF, fourth one priority, round robin, HRRN, and multi-level queue scheduling, multi-level feedback queue scheduling. Total 8. Among these 8, every algorithm has its own merits and demerits, own advantages and disadvantages. You have to use widely and popularly used algorithm as SJF. The name itself specifies that shortest job first or shortest process next, SPN. With this, it gives minimum waiting time and minimum turnaround times. That's why SJF is the best algorithm. Okay. SJF is the best or optimal algorithm you are called as.
Madam, what is the full form SRTF, madam? Algorithm.
553. What is the doubt?
What is the full form SRTF, madam? Algorithm.
SRTF, shortest remaining time first. Shortest remaining time first. Already explained the problem also. SRTF, shortest remaining time first. Okay. Implement FCFS or SJF or priority or round robin in case of regarding laboratory program. What is the input for FCFS? What is the input for FCFS? Anybody unmute your mic and give me the answer. What is the input for FCFS? What is the input for FCFS? You have to enter process IDs, your burst time and arrival time. For every algorithm, process ID, process number and arrival time, burst times. Arrival time all will be 0 or some values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And burst time is common. In addition, you have priority, you have one more column is added, that is priority values. Then for round robin, you have time slice or time quantum. These are the input values. If you want to perform FCFS scheduling algorithm, you have to use burst time initially waiting time array 0, turnaround time 0, and 0 plus burst times. You have to add and draw the Gantt chart. And then turnaround time equal to turnaround time plus burst times of first process, second process, third process. In case of SJF scheduling algorithm, you have to use all the burst times should be in some sorted order. Which process will have the lesser burst time, that process may be executed first. That's why whatever the given burst times will be, apply any bubble sort or quick sort algorithm, we have to sort the burst time values, then apply FCFS. You have to apply FCFS on that sorted array. Priority, you have to use burst time values, and one more array is burst priorities. By comparing the priorities, which one will have the least priority? Always the less number will have the highest priority. Then you have to use that number. Based upon that priority, the process is going to be executed. But in case of round robin, the time quantum should be less than 0 or greater than 0 or equal to 0. Then based upon that time quantum constraints, you have to execute the programs. There are very 4 important programs. One is FCFS, SJF, priority and round robin scheduling algorithms. With this, I would conclude the today's session. We will meet you tomorrow. See you guys. Bye.